to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. And nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and he makes the nations prove. Oh yeah, joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. And nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and he makes the nations prove. Oh yeah, joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. And nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and he makes the nations prove. Oh yeah, joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her care. Let every heart prepare him room. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and he makes the nations prove. Oh yeah, joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her care. Let every heart prepare him room. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing.
There you go. Hey everybody, this is Teresa Griffith, and this is not only the good news trek, but this is the most important trek that I've ever done. And I have been crying quite a bit today because of all the amazing, wonderful things that are happening, but they're happening so fast that we're spun. Like we're just like, we go one way and then something else happens. We go another way. And, oh, wow, and so Shelley's description of this operation is controlled chaos. Yeah, sometimes not so controlled, maybe just a little like loopy. So anyway, we actually stopped everything today and went to my friend who has a med bed. It's like an original prototype, and we put it at 963 hertz with 963 hertz music as well. And we just had to like breathe, calm down, right? Okay. So welcome to all the newbies and to those who've been following me for a while. Those who are new may not understand my appearance, but my followers, my regular followers, understand that I'm an artist, and my main art form is fashion, wearable fashion, and I plan to start a fashion line. In fact, I already have. I've done about maybe 3 Destiny garments where we put the truth that you need to hear that undoes the lie that you have lived with your whole life. We put it in the garment. And so I create it prophetically, and sometimes we do purses and put the truth in the flap on the inside. So every time you open it up, you see your truth to help undo that lie. All right. So I am the hat lady. I will never wear a red hat. Just so you know, that is not going to happen. Do not send me a red hat. Most of my hats came from my mom, and that was my inheritance from her. And so I wear them. And I learned a long time ago not to care what other people think. So we just boing the bots if we get them. And it's just too bad. They just... they don't have the courage to wear a Texas hat. So anyway, you know what's fun is that I live in Texas now, and this is hat country, right? So I was made to live here. I had a message from someone who sent me a very nice message, but she said, "I know your heart is still in California," and I went, no, no, I have a soft spot in my heart for California, but I am a true Texan and I live in the heart of Texas. Very interesting, right? So, anyway, um, for those of you that are looking for intel, I'm going to tell you right off that I tried to get a hold of my advisor every single night from 11 to 1 a.m. in the morning, and I got no response. And that is always a good sign. It means that he's in meetings and they don't let him out, and that's always good. So I never get upset about that. I would like to sleep a little earlier, but I wanted that update to deliver to you. And so I would just go with what Mark Z is saying right now. All right. So he really is right on with what he says, and he knows we're about ready to open the door. And if you follow Iraq, you know we're right there. So it's happening. And I want to say, when we all set our intention and our faith on that date of the 15th, don't think nothing happened, because a lot did happen. And I did detail that, but I didn't explain that I believe our intentions helped to cause that movement, because it was escalated movement. All right. So we should continue to do it every single day. Let's pick the date that we're on and do it again. And I have proof of that works. I was told today that those people who are angry, impatient, and ranting, they're actually slowing the whole system down because they're listening. I actually said that I thought that might be possible because of frequency, right? And it's actually a true thing, frequency wise, and the fact that they feel like we're not ready because of that kind of behavior. So if you want to go, you might want to cool it. You might want to just change your attitude, get in the attitude of gratitude, and understand that God is the one that's in control of this. If you're going to be angry, then your anger is at him. Just understand that, okay? I heard someone say the other night that, if it's a security issue that we're going slower, I guess Trump's okay with a few people dying. It wasn't even, I guess, I think it was, since we know that Trump is okay with a certain number of people dying, I want to tell you something. He is not. And guess what? It's not his decision to make. He's not in charge of when we go. It's the military that decides when we go. So I just have to say that, because that startled me. This man who's laid down his life for us, the pain that he's been through, the loss, the cost. You don't want to blame him for not caring. Oh my goodness, that's not possible. Okay, I just want to get that straight. All right, so I want to blow your mind tonight. And I know that my followers have opened minds. They don't have a box for life or for God, and they are going to receive this message and they're going to run with it. I know that there are other people who are just fed up and angry, and they're not going to hear the message, and you're going to suffer loss. I'm telling you right now, when you get to the other side, you're going to miss out. And I'll tell you why. Because this is the opportunity of the history of the world. We are shifting into a new realm and a new day. It's not about the reset, the RV, or the med beds. You're going to get all those, yes. But that is not the issue. That is external. When you get to the end of the line and you have gotten your money and you've gotten your med bed, will you feel empty at that point? Will you be fulfilled? Do you know that you will, because the change in here did not happen. You did not get the blessing in here. You see, this whole process has been for that very reason, for that to take place. The journey is part of the training for reigning. And if you reject the journey and everything that goes along with it, you get to the end of the line and you didn't change. You didn't become a different person, which prepares you to enter in to the real world and operate in the real world. You're still stuck in the matrix. See, that matrix taught you to think like that. They taught you to use human reasoning. And what the Bible calls it is the carnal mind. And Christians always thought that meant a sinful mind. No, it means an earthly mind. It means a low-level matrix thinking. If you have that now and you haven't come out of that, you've just been focused only on the reset or the med bed. When you get to the end, you will still have a carnal matrix mind and you will not have changed. It will all that suffering will have been for nothing. See? And so now I want to show you the door. You are the one that has to walk through it. But I can show you the door. And I have the key. Why do I have the key? Because I have suffered my entire life for this very moment, from day one. And I am going to tell the truth about Tressie tomorrow night on an interview with Believe in Miracles. I'm going to come out with the truth for the first time. And in doing so, I'm taking a huge risk. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I want people to understand why I am where I am, what caused me to be able to learn how to come out of the matrix. And then I can show other people the way out. And it will also touch you deeply if you suffered in a way similar to mine. And I want to tell you that it was all worth it. I went from hating myself and hating my life and demanding that God take me out to coming into unspeakable, unexplainable joy and freedom, like indescribable, because I made a choice to do so. And I want to explain that to you tonight. This will change your life. And some of this is something you've never heard before. Some of you have never tasted of this or understood this, and some of you have, but I might say it in a little bit different way than you're used to. So I would love it. I wish I would have posted this for you to get an essential oil. I've already done it. Inhale the oil, because when you inhale that oil, it connects immediately to the lumbar. What am I trying to say? I forgot the name of it. I forgot it. I'm tired. A part of the brain that is the seat of the emotions. Somebody will know. Somebody will help me with it. All right. It controls the seat. It's the seat of the emotions. And what that does, limbic. I've said it for decades and I just lost it. The limbic part of the brain is the seat of the emotions. And what it does is it corrals the carnal mind. It gets a hold of the carnal mind and it causes it to be subservient to the spirit so that you can become invincible. You can break out of the matrix at will. At a moment, at any moment, you can enter into the real world. And that's what I've learned to do because I had to do that. I had no choice. I was either going to do that or I was not going to make it. And that happened my whole life. And I kept finding higher and higher levels of that realm until I'm addicted. I can live in the real and in the matrix. I can go to work in the matrix and live in the real world. That's how I do it. Okay. So in this description of what I'm about to tell you, I'm kind of acting like Morpheus, a combination of Morpheus and the Oracle in the Matrix movie. So, you know, I have a therapy that I learned from God. I am an expert in integrating people who have split personalities, and they split because of intense trauma as a child. And a child cannot handle adult-sized pain, and so they split. And so I spent 3 years with one woman trying to integrate. I think she had 5 or 7. I call them little ones. And then I had such success with her that then I began to get more and more people. And there's a lot more people than you could imagine who have that situation going on. Whenever you hear someone, it seems like they're one way. One time you talk to them, especially if it's a spouse, and then moments later they're a different personality and they say things that they swear they didn't say. Okay. So I had spent 3 years with that lady, helping the little ones find the truth and then find the way of escape. Even if they were angry and violent, I would just patiently love them and help them find the lie, help them find the truth. And then they would say, you're just trying to get rid of us. And I would say, no, oh no. God is so proud of you because you kept this lady alive. But there is a graduation waiting for you. And if you want to graduate, you just tell me when you're ready. Until then, I'm your friend. And they would call me Poppy. And so then each one of them would graduate at a certain time. And I actually got to watch one with in my presence. I watched her graduate, and it was the most angelic wow experience I've ever had. I just wished I could have filmed it or something because it was so glorious. But then when the second lady came to me, I said, God, I can't spend 3 years with each person. I need a better way. I need a faster way. And he said, okay, I'm going to tell you what the truth is for these people. I said, okay. He said, tell them I came for them. Because one of the biggest questions they have is, where was God? Why does God let little children get traumatized? And you've all been wondering that, haven't you? All this human trafficking and the trauma these children have had. And where was God? Why didn't he stop it? And I'm here to tell you, he did. He told me so. And I said, I don't get it. What do you mean? He said, people are spirits. The real you is a spirit. You just live in a body. It's your house. But the real you is a spirit. He said, just understand, the Cabal did not ruin the entire Bible. There is a roadmap in there that's still intact, and you can find it if you search for it with all your heart. And that is where I got the code. I got the roadmap out of the matrix. So he said, I answer before you call. That is words, living words of life. I answer before you call. All right. That applies to those trafficked children. He also said, I always provide a way of escape. You put those two together, and he said, I came for them every time they were about to be hurt. I came for their spirit, and I took them into the real world where they were never damaged. The real child was never damaged. Yes, the body and the mind will have to be healed, but the spirit is still intact and not damaged. And I knew it was true. I could see it, but yet I said, God, I have to have confirmation before I talk to this lady, because this is scary to me to tell her that, because I'm treading on holy ground. I take this very seriously. And he said, and he didn't say anything. So I went to bed. At 5 o'clock in the morning, my spirit is singing a song, and it's by Coldplay, and you've probably heard it. When she was just a girl, she expected the world. So she flew away, but it flew away from her reach. So she ran away in her sleep and dreamed of paradise. She didn't dream about it. She went there. She went into the kingdom of heaven because he came for her. And my spirit just kept singing that, and I was still asleep. And I didn't want to wake up. I was tired, and it just kept happening and happening. It kept getting louder and louder. And finally I was like, okay. And so then I meditated on the words, and I went, oh my gosh. She expected the world, but it flew away from her reach. So she ran away in her sleep and went to paradise. I said, okay, all right, that's my confirmation. So I went to the lady, and I told her what he said. And she had 15 splits from satanic ritual abuse. And I held my breath as I waited for her to respond. And she began to weep deeply. And she said, that makes perfect sense. And that night, Jesus came for all 15 little ones. She saw it in a vision or dream, I don't know which. And he brought them all a ball gown, and he took them to the dance. And she was integrated and made whole in one night because of the truth that set her free. See, if you don't know these things, if you don't know it for yourself, how are you going to help all these people? It's not just the children from human trafficking that have been hurt. It's people from generations upon generations who never told anyone. Many. And they don't understand it. They don't understand. If God loves me, why did he allow that to happen? You have to be ready. You can't just go to the bank and go to the med bed and think everything's going to be fine, because the world is losing the faulty foundation that we had, and there will be no foundation left at all but God. If you're going to go to a new world, don't you need the roadmap? Don't you need the instructions of how to live there? You can't live like we've been living. It's a totally different ballgame. We're going to have our minds renewed in the truth about how to live financially, because we've been taught to budget, tight, count pennies. I know an older woman who knows the price of an article in the grocery store, $1.69. That broke my heart when she told me the price of it. We don't have to live like that anymore. So I'm going to skip a lot of the pain that I went through. I've told this group many times what happened to me. I'm going to tell it tomorrow night in encapsulated form. But what I want to say is after, 50 some years of intense, horrible horror, we're talking horror that I went through, like the outer limits, like the Twilight Zone, and then to lose everything and to be thrust into the real world because I was unplugged from the matrix in every area imaginable. There was nothing to lean on anymore. I couldn't lean on the government. I had nothing. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. But once it happened, God said, I need to rewire you. Just like Neo on that operating table. He said, am I dead yet? And they said, no. Oh, no. Why do my eyes hurt? Because you've never used them. And that's where we're at. Many of us have never yet used our real eyes, our spirit eyes, the real us eyes. We have not walked by faith. We've walked by sight, matrix sight. We interpreted everything according to the carnal, earthly matrix mind, and it won't work over there. You may be floundering just as much as the normies who didn't know anything if you don't learn this principle. So God had to realign me with the truth that set me free because I was carrying a pack of lies. Oh, just dozens of lies because of what happened to me at birth and beyond. And that's what I'm going to tell tomorrow night. So I had scheduled a Raindrop Therapy appointment with a good friend of mine who was a therapist. And I love Raindrop Therapy, especially because I've talked about how the spine is the switchboard of the body, and that switchboard determines where the negative emotions get deposited. They don't just evaporate. They go into certain parts of the body, and then the body breaks down if you don't stop, continuing to eat that diet. That anger will kill your liver, truly, and your gallbladder, and hurt every cell in between. And so I love the Raindrop Therapy because they put the oils on the spine, and it just goes right into the circuit and sent out into the whole body of wherever it needs to go. And so I was just thinking, it was going to be a great appointment. That's all I was thinking. But I prepared myself spiritually. And so when I got there, the first thing, you lay on your back, and the first thing she does is put your ankles in her hands with the oil on her hands. And from that moment, I was taken into the real world in like a sci-fi experience, like Jodie Foster. If you remember in Contact, the look on her face when she saw the real world, it was that kind of thing. And my whole body was like on fire. I've never experienced that ever in my life. My hand was so hot. I thought I could burn something, and I couldn't speak. And I said to her, "What?" She goes, "I can feel it down here." And so I just gave way to whatever was happening to me. And it was like God was coming to do heart surgery on me and to explain my entire life. And what happened was like a white light came into one eye at a time, just like that. And, I understand that the right side of the body correlates to issues with dad, the left side issues with mom. And so I believe that's why the light would come into one eye and then the other eye. And so the light would come to the right eye, and he would tell me, he would say, "You remember this?" And it would be a traumatic memory with dad. And then I would acknowledge, and then he would say, "You want to know why this happened?" And he'd explain it. And then he would give me a scripture with a truth in it, a nugget, I call it a superhuman multivitamin that would heal the problem, to heal the issue. And then I would just bawl, and he would let me process it, and then white light into the other eye. And it would be a memory about mom and a trauma issue. And he would say, do you want to know why this happened? He'd explain it, and then he'd resolve it, give me the truth that set me free. And it just kept happening for 2 hours. And when I got done, I was transformed. He pulled the mother load issues. He pulled the issues that would trip me for the rest of my life. I could not go forward until those lies were pulled. And the main one was, I don't count. Everybody else counts but me. I was living in abject poverty at the time. He said, I cannot bless you unless you plug the holes. You have a bag with holes in it. And the reason I did was because I believed if I don't count, then every blessing that comes to me, I have to give it away, give it to someone else. That's a bag with a hole in it. He says, so why don't I just skip you and go to them? I'll go to whoever you would have given it to. That's why you're in poverty. You don't have a balance. You don't understand that you count too. And I have enough to go around. If I bless you, I can still bless everybody else. That's a key that we need. Once you get through your bank appointment, you cannot give it all away. The Treasury believes that probably 90% of the people will lose all of their money in 1 year. Then what? If you haven't learned the lessons of how to live in a spirit world and the money's gone, then what? All right. So you have to have wisdom. It's like the lottery winners. They won the lottery. It was so ecstatically, they were so happy. But within a very short time, they lost all their friends, most of their family, and all their money. Most of them. And they were left empty. And they wished they'd never won it. This takes much preparation. And they're watching us. They want to know, are we ready for this? Have we studied? Have we researched? Have we, picked out the experts that will help us manage it? That's just a side note. It's not about getting the update. It's so much more than that. That's so surfacey. That's so matrix. Yes, I want an update too, but there's more to it. And so because of my life, because I've been alone my whole life. I've been rejected my whole life. I never fit in. And because of it, I ran into God. And what he told me was, he is the superior medbed. And not only that, it's the package, the offer is the most romantic, beautiful love story you have ever heard. It is the divine, sacred romance. It has nothing to do with religion. Absolutely nothing. In fact, when Jesus was on the earth, the only people he reprimanded were the religious. Religious people will not get this. They have a box for God, and it does not include what I'm going to tell you. Once upon a time, the creator of the entire universe had a deep longing for intimacy with people, individuals, one-of-a-kind individuals that he could create into this wondrous, one-of-a-kind being that was the only one of its kind that would ever live or ever will live, and was therefore not expendable. And he set a time frame for them to come on the earth for a reason. And there was a whole group that he chose to be at this time in history. And he could not stop thinking about you. He is called the Ancient of Days, and his thoughts of you are more in number than the sand on the seashore, and that is a literal number because he's been thinking about you his whole life. He put everything into this point in time, and he has been waiting all this time, and he never once complained that it wasn't going fast enough. He thought you were worth waiting for. And so the time has come. And if you read the Song of Solomon, that is your story. That his love affair with you, and his heart is beating in his chest. That this is the moment that he wants to woo you into his realm, the kingdom realm. He's waiting for you. So I want to explain to you what it feels like to live in that realm. So when he woos you, you feel your heart swells. You feel warm, you feel love, you may have tears. I almost always have tears. And I craved him so much because I had nothing else. He was my life, my breath, my friend, my lover, my everything. So I wanted more. I want all of you that I can possibly experience. And that's what he wants too. He's a passionate God, but he's also a gentleman, and he will not barge into your life. You must invite him. So I invited him at 8 years old to come in to me, to live inside me. And when that happens, you become superhuman, and you can do anything because the real live Superman lives inside you. But it gets better than that. And so he had a plan for a relationship that is so intimate and so supernatural that it would cause the world to be in awe of us and want what we had. And so what I would do is I would just get comfortable, lay on the floor, and I would put music on that could take me, that moved me. It was already music that moved my heart, and most of it was Bethel music. Most of it was Jen Johnson. And I know we have some Redding, California people in the house, and thank you. It's an honor to have you here. And I just want to say, there is a sound. There is a spiritual sound that comes from the kingdom realm, and only your heart knows it. It's not bebopping around. It can be rocky at times if that's what you need at the time, but there is a sound. It comes out of Jen Johnson's mouth and many other people, Stephanie Gretzinger, many others, but those two are kind of my top people. And to the degree that those people are deep into that intimate place with the great lover of our souls, to that degree, that sound is powerful that comes out of their mouth. Okay? And it can heal anybody who's listening, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything, physically. And so I would put my favorite songs on that did that for me, and I would go up. And let me tell you how it feels. I would just, for me, prayer is not asking for things. My prayer is intimacy with God, the lover of my soul. I even created a CD called Lover of My Soul for that purpose, that people could put it on and go into the real world with their spirit that is not locked into their body. So I would lay there and let the music go and just let my mind go. Let it all go. Remember that in the Matrix? That's what it means. It's what it's talking about. Let the mind go. And so I would lay there and I would feel him come. I mean, you could tell he was in the room, and he would come in and I would feel him in my heart, and my heart would begin to swell. And then it would be like his presence grew and expanded until my whole body was full of light. And especially my abdomen and my belly would feel like a contraction of labor. And not painful, but just ecstasy, joy, peace, love. And you laugh, you cry, whatever it is, the place of where the whole world goes away. Every problem is not a problem anymore. It is the place where you hear the answers to life. I would get downloads. I would hear full names of political figures and their political agenda and what I was supposed to do. And I would know my next step. I would know where to find the money that I needed. It was just like, and then it was just him telling me how much he loved me, what he loved about me, what he had planned for me, the good plans he has for me. He wanted to blow my mind with how much he loved me and what he thinks of me in detail. That's what I do for a living, is I tell people, I give love messages. I'm like the FTD florist. And I could spend hours. And I did. And I learned his voice so well that I don't have to go say, oh, I'll have to pray about it. No, because if this God lives inside of you and you live inside him, you are one. And you know immediately what his will is. Your spirit knows. Like if he's going this way and I'm going this way, my spirit turns and goes this way in a symbolism. You know what I'm saying? I know his will. I don't have to go beg for it and fast and pray. I know it because I'm intimate. I'm one with him. It's like asking your husband if he wants his favorite food or if he likes this kind of food. And he's like, are you okay? Why? Because you know him, right? You don't have to keep asking him all the time because you know him. It's the same relationship. This is what he longs for. He doesn't want servants. He doesn't want slaves. He doesn't want people to be stuck in a relationship of just obedience. There's so much of that. He wants you to come up here. He wants you to sit on his throne. He wants you to sit beside him, and he wants you to co-rule and co-reign with him. How are you going to do that if you're groveling down at his feet all the time? That's not what he wants. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. Sit tall in a dignified place. The king is calling you. And so he takes you by the hand and he says, come. I have something far better for you than that subjugation thing. No, oneness. And so this is what he wants. He wants to envelop you, come into you, and deposit his life into you, his holy seed into you. And then it mixes with your DNA, with your desires. He doesn't want to get rid of your desires for his. No, he put them there. He wants to mix with you. And so he puts his life and his holy seed within you if you present yourself for that, right? And then it mixes with you and your desire, and all of a sudden you become pregnant with destiny. And when that baby is born, It is something that has never been seen on the face of the planet before, because it was uniquely created between you and he. You see? Do you see why he longs for that? He loves to create, and he's not done. He doesn't want to stop. He's an artist. He longs to be intimate with you, not someone else, not just me. No, because it's a different flavor that comes out. It's a different color. It's a different array, a beauty, a piece of art. And we have the answers for the world in that place. You see what I'm saying? You need this before you go into the real world, or you won't be able to function in that realm. It'll be low level. It'll be human. You're not human. You're the offspring of God. And he wants you to come back home. He wants you to come into his realm. He doesn't want you to think you have to die to be with him. No. He wants to be with you right now in the real world of the kingdom, because the kingdom is inside of you. It's not up in the sky. It's within you. The Bible says that. And how do you get in there? Unless you become as a little child, you cannot enter. You can't even see it. How do you become as a little child? You let go of your human reasoning, your mind, your logic, and you play. You dance. You know what he taught me during the COVID scamdemic? He taught me that whatever is heavy is not kingdom. Whatever is hard is not kingdom. The language of the Matrix are these words. Let me know. I mean, you asked yourself, do you have these words in your vocabulary, your religious vocabulary? I have to. I must. I need to. Those are Matrix words. Those are not words of the kingdom. How do I know that? Galatians 5:1. It is for freedom that Christ has set you free. Be not entangled again in the yoke of bondage. Whatever is bondage is not God. These people who think they have to carry everybody and do things they don't feel like doing, they're too tired. I don't want to, but I should. Should is a Matrix word. Why do your shoulders hurt? You're carrying too much of the load for other people. How can you dance with other people on your shoulders? You can't. The real life in the real world is an eternal party and a dance of life, and he has been waiting for us to wake up to it. But we have been sleeping beauty, and he's been watching over us, waiting breathlessly for us to wake up and come alive so he could lure us and woo us into his realm. He won't push, he won't pull, he won't demand, but he'll send you flowers. He sent me truffles one time. He did. He really did. And that story got told all over the world. And I would go to Hong Kong and they would say, "Oh, tell us of the romance of God." I was so depressed one day. I was living in my beloved Michigan. And I thought, I have to make myself get up. I have to do something. I have to get dressed. I have to go somewhere. And so I thought, okay, I'm driving on the freeway and I'm thinking, I need chocolate. Very spiritual. Yes, I am very spiritual. So I went to the store and I picked up a little box of truffles because I didn't believe in sugar. I didn't really do well with sugar. And so I was just going to be a good girl and just have a little box of truffles. And when I got to the aisle, I heard God say, "Get the big box for me." And I went, "Oh, no, no, that's not God. I've gone too far now." Right? So I got the little box. I get in my car. I go back to my house. And on the doorknob is a bag with something in it. And I think, oh, it's the new phone book or it's the newspaper or something. And I go get it. It's a large gourmet box of truffles. No one could have known what he said to me. And I thought, who could have done this? So I called my best friend. I said, "You did not leave me truffles at my door." She goes, "Yeah, I did." And she does not eat sugar at all. I said, "Why did you do that?" She goes, "I don't know. I was just driven to buy you truffles." You see what I'm saying? He's a real God. He's a close, tangible, touchable, passionate God who wants to mix with you and bring you finally into his realm. After all this time, he's had to wait. He had that relationship with Adam and Eve, and it was, they walked together, they talked together, they had that intimacy. And then the human mind in reasoning and logic won out, and they lost that. And he's been waiting all this time for us to get back to Eden, and we're there. We are walking into the promised land in just a few days. I hope that I am making you thirsty right now. I hope I'm making you hungry for more of the real world and the possibilities where you can download anything you need. I would go to bed at night and I would ask a question. In the middle of the night, he would answer me. And it was specific. And I would go check it out, and it was true. He'd wake me up with a song, and in the song was the answer. How fun. What an adventure, a treasure hunt. I don't struggle anymore to make a living. In fact, I actually, a few months ago, I quit the only thing that I was doing that brought in money. It was $1,400 a month, and I needed it. I needed it. And but I live by the law of joy. If it's not joyful anymore, if I feel that it's become heavy, then I must let it go, no matter what the cost, no matter what the replications, whatever. And I did it by faith and walked away. And then I went, okay, so now what? And immediately, within, I believe, 2 weeks, somebody put my video on Phil Godleski chat. And all of a sudden, I began to sell my music. I have been in the cave of Adullam, I call it, hidden away in obscurity for the last 14 years. After being known all over the world and doing healing concerts all over the world for even government leaders, I got burned out and I became very quiet. And when you don't tour, you don't sell. And I thought, I have a whole storage unit full of CDs, and I thought I should just give them to a disabled veterans center or something. I don't know what to do with them. That's my whole life in there, and they're useless now. That's what I thought, right? Then all of a sudden, people are begging for CDs. And I don't miss that $1,400 anymore. But I am not the breadwinner. That's what he taught me. He provides for me. He takes care of me. So I can play. I can download things, answers, inventions. I can hear someone crying clear across the nation. I go to pick up the phone and the phone is already ringing and it's them. Or I call them and they say, oh my gosh, I was just calling you. I put my hand on the phone. And I said, I know, I heard you crying. That's normal. That kind of thing is normal in the real world. So I just want to leave you with that. And I want to bless you and invite you to come in to the most incredible new day of your entire life. You will never be the same. You won't lack for anything. This is a realm of there is no loss. Even when I'm in the matrix, something seems like a loss. You will, if you think of it in with spiritual sight, you will find out later it was not a loss, because he flips everything for you into a blessing on the other side. And I, at this point in my life, have no regrets about my life, because he, I've always talked about the two stories that are happening at the same time. The matrix story that is all pain, all loss, right? And this realm in the real world that has a whole different story about that, what happened to you. And all I do is just go to him and say, what do you think? What's your story? Because this one isn't too good. And he would tell me. And it'd be like, oh, it will take your breath away every single time. And then you can help other people with the same comfort that you received. That's why I am who I am today. And that's why I have done all these teachings last year to have them ready for right now, so that people could learn the things that I learned while I was in the real world, that I downloaded while I was in there. Healing for family rejection. Why did I get that revelation? Because I needed it. Why did I get freedom from anxiety? Because I needed it. How come I know how to stop a panic attack in 5 minutes? Yep, because I had to have it for myself. And so now I have to pass the baton. I have to pass it on. I have to get this in as many people's hands as possible so that we can be ready when we cross over. Because they're going to have lots of questions, as we keep saying. All right. All right. Well, I would like to invite you to the interview that I'm going to be having tomorrow night, and we will put the link on. Oh, she already did. My handy dandy Shelly supernatural woman put it on the social media already, and it'll be on Rumble too. All right. All right. Oh man, I wanted to read a something, and I forgot. So I'm going to do that right now. Someone sent me the most beautiful message. And I mean, I have so many. I have to pick one out. Thank you for this, Deborah. I love listening to you because you are so positive and genuine. I also want to share how much I love your Utopia CD. That is the one that, can help you with anxiety and help you sleep. I listen. I want to buy this CD for all of my family members. I play the piano, and it gives me such joy and release. I can't imagine what you feel when you play the flute. I can only imagine. That words could never give it justice. Thank you again for sharing your story and for helping so many people with your truth. And you're right, Deborah. So that same relationship that I feel in my private place of intimacy with him carries over into my concerts. And so I ask him to come and fill me and blow through me, and people can feel the wind of the Spirit. I had the whole first row kind of go back all at the same time because they felt it, and I wasn't even near them. I've seen people said they see colors coming out of the flutes, and for me, I feel the wind of his breath blowing through me, even in my abdomen. And when it comes out, I am sometimes propelled forward, or I feel like I'm off the ground. And so now this coming year, we're going to do frequency music. We're going to add that element. I'm getting new flutes in the right intonation. And sometime next year, I'll start a USO tour, and we're going to do healing concerts once again. And people will be healed in the audience during the concert. And we're going to teach and help the people find their way into the real world. All right. All right. I'll say goodnight for now. And I just want to thank, we've got about, 10 countries represented on the trek. And I thank all of you. For some of you are awake in the middle of the night just to watch the trek. And so thank you so much. All right. I'll bless you one more time and say good night. See you tomorrow night. All righty.